Hey guys, it's Willing Away and welcome back to ARG Discovery. We're starting off on part 2 of the Hypnagogic Archive, and this time we'll be covering all of the videos on their YouTube that they have posted. We're going to cover, first off, all the videos that are posted on their website in that order, so the alphabetical order, and then after that, any other random videos that happen to be on their site that I was led to or found. We're also going to cover any of the hidden text files I found while I was doing this, which that was really fun. So you'll get to hear those, and then if any other videos happen before this actually gets uploaded, I'll add that in here before, hopefully. But yeah, so there might be an update at the end if, while I'm making this, for some reason, another video goes up, then I'll update you guys on that. But anyways, this is going to be a lot less structured than the last part, but we'll see how it goes. So, hope you guys enjoy. Alright, so to start off, before we get into our first video, which is called Appendage, I'm going to tell you how I'm going to structure explaining these videos to hopefully make it flow a bit easier. I'm going to start with the title, obviously, of the video. Then I'm going to go into the text description underneath the video, so anything that's mentioned in that description. Then we're going to go straight to the comments before we ever jump into the video, see if anyone's commented anything important, anything we need to focus on, and then we'll jump into the video itself and cover any hidden secrets in the video. But other than that, that's how I'm going to structure these videos, and we're going to get started on Appendage. So starting off with the first video, that was Appendage. It's the first one you can find when you look at their video section on the website. In the text description, it just states that it's a short TV spot for Bellevue Flea Market in 1997, and then the text description just states that it hurts, please stop. There was no important comments on this video by any of the archivists, so normally what I mean about that is you'll see later on in some of these videos that some characters in this ARG will comment underneath the videos, and then sometimes no one will comment, but it'll be a comment by the channel itself. So there's not a designated person who's saying the thing that's commented. But so far in Appendage, there was no comments made, nothing by the archivists. It was dead silent in the comment section. All I connected from this video, and these are just going to be very kind of sporadic notes, was that it connects back to sleep because it mentions a lot of sleep problems, which I'll discuss all these theories later in part 4 about how I think all this connects into the story. You probably will see the connections throughout this video and the other one, the first part. But as of right now, I'm holding all that information until part 4 when I can get all my theories and discussions about what I truly think is happening out onto a big screen and fully explain it and just, have all the information ready so that you guys know what I'm talking about. So it describes the release function of the large intestine. It was very much focused on the innards of our body and how they work. It says that if it can't release, it leads to sleep problems. It was a very scratchy film. It causes the image that it was focused on to look like intestines and gore. But somehow I said this connects to a flea market and question marks. I didn't understand that point. But obviously, now I realize it's not supposed to connect to the flea market. But anyways, there's a lot of record scratches at the end and messes up and glitches, which that becomes a natural occurrence throughout all of these videos and stuff. But that is what I got from the first video, Appendage. We will be moving on to April Transmission next. So in April Transmission, all the description stated for the video is that it was filmed by Elias. There was no other description beneath that one. I don't see any comments made at all, so we're just going to hop straight into the video, and this was also the first video where we got our first kind of ARG experiences. So there were secret texts, which were in Belarusian, and I'll read all of them to you. I helped decipher some of these. There was commenters, obviously. This is an older ARG, so people have kind of already solved stuff, but I always make sure to double check because can't fully trust what people comment below. So I made sure to double check these translations, but I got, "Hello little man, so nice to see you again. You want to know how to stop us? You cannot stop us. This one, This is why I always double check, because there were 2 different translations of this one, and it was either we are an inevitable universalistic law, or we are the inevitable universal law. Both of those mean roughly the same thing, so the translation doesn't really matter, but there are slight differences with them. Other than that, there was just, we are entropy, and sooner or later we will break you. We're in here, Elias. And then the last one, which this one was covered in a static, so it wasn't really hidden, but it was a secret message in the video. And all it stated was that, let the static consume you, which becomes a reoccurring statement throughout these videos also. I said it had a possible connection to the text story, Evening Meeting. If you don't know what Evening Meeting is, you can watch the first part. It is a really long video, so I made sure to have checkpoints in that video if you want to go watch those. So you can just hop straight to Evening Meeting if you want to understand what I'm talking about. But there's connections to Evening Meeting because throughout the radio, there's a mention of a small fire near the road where Elias was driving in Evening Meeting, which I would say technically it was close enough. So in Evening Meeting, he is driving. We're gonna have a quick little cover sesh. In Evening Meeting, he was driving along a road. He ran into a specter of some kind that was connected to a telephone pole or wire that was loose and causing sparks and static. He mentions that, he didn't want to get accused of a fire starting, and so he leaves. In the end, he just leaves. And I'm guessing from this, we can assume that a fire did start. A fire did start, a small bush fire, but it was quickly quelled. But it was interesting to see that, and it clicked right away when I heard fire, and I had to search up the road that was mentioned, and it's very close to the road that is mentioned in Evening Meeting, which leads me to believe that it's not a coincidence. Other than that, we know the video was taken by Elias. There was a hat in the video, but down below, forgot to mention this, down below in the comments, someone asked about the hat in the video, and Elias responded that there is no hat, and that this is an item, or an ad from 1997 for the Minneapolis City Center. Other than that, the radio messages throughout the video just mentioned the Russian border. I took that as that could be a hint that the secret message was in Belarusian. But other than that, that was all I found throughout April transmission. The next video we're going to be talking about is clicking through lives. In clicking through lives, all the description says is to feed me, which that description was written in Belarusian yet again. There was no comments that stood out in the comment section, nothing really important, so we're just going to jump right into the video. There was this repeated beeping in the video, and for a second, I swore it was Morse code or something like that. But then you listen to it and there's no beeps or dashes, so it wouldn't make sense. It was not a spectrogram, which is where you can put sounds into something to see if it creates an image. It's not a spectrogram. It's not any other code I could think of, so I just chalked it up to being a sound, which that bugged me because I was like, it has to mean something, but I just chalked it up to being a sound that occurred throughout the video. Other than that, we got a starting screen that says the Hypnagogic Archive. It states your source of temporal ephemera. Since this one, it was a really blurry image. I know we discussed the image later on because we actually get a clear one, but I believe it was 1998 was the year, since 1998, but I believe that might be a different one. If it changes, you'll hear about it. There was hidden messages yet again throughout the video. This one was possibly, I couldn't, decide exactly. I definitely know it said to feed, but this one, this was a maybe, a little iffy. I believe it says to feed the collection. Another one states, it is hungry, so terribly hungry. Feed it unless it will eat you. That one might not be the proper translation. I didn't get... That one was another one in the comments where someone stated it was something else, and I just couldn't get the translation to match that translation. The writing was different. That's what I mean. So I couldn't get that translation, so I got it as close as I could to what was in the video, to what Google Translate showed, and that was feed it unless it will eat you. And then these are the ways of the world, which I believe all those were also in Belarusian. Belarusian is a really popular language in this ARG. Other than that, I just wrote stuff in the videos that stood out. There was a mannequin, a carousel, pile of leaves on the ground, a video of some guys like fighting. There was a girl singing, which was really distorted. And then there was also like multiple people. It looked like a group of friends or something like that throughout the video. The audio was reversed in some parts, but it wasn't saying anything. There wasn't important in the reversal, but it did reverse at some part, like a rewind button. But that's all I found through clicking through lives. The next one we'll be covering is Community Submission Reel. So in Community Submission Reel, number 874, there is a description again, but it is written in Belarusian. It just says that it must eat, and I'm going to be very honest with you. I'm taking this video with a huge grain of salt, just due to the fact that I couldn't find anything important in it. There was a Discord notification sound. There was weird statistics that didn't make sense. That's why I'm considering, like, these are actually legit, just, actual submissions to their email that they posted. So I don't think any of this has to do with the ARG besides the description and the video title. And that is how I'm going to be treating it. So we're just going to move on to the next video, which is going to be called Dangerous Runoff Levels, Adjunct 23. For Dangerous Runoff Levels, Adjunct 23, all the description states was that it was filmed in Philadelphia, WMCX, 1995. The description states, out into the night. They'll never find me up here. Never in a million years. And the one thing I want to point out is for the word million, it is cut in half. So there's a space between the two words, which when you watch the video and you read some of the comments, which I'm going to mention one here. So there was no Belarusian throughout this video. No comments that I see were important. But what does stand out is there was a commenter underneath the video called Tekken Musics. And I'm shouting you out here because your theory was pretty good. It was great. It stated that the Philadelphia X-Mix, which is what it actually is, doesn't exist. It's possible alternate reality, and Adjunct 23 means that there's possibly 22 more alleyways, which is kind of what the video is, like this, which means the facility is massive. Another thing they brought up is that because the word million in the description is split in two, it could mean cutting atoms, which is the process of how, I believe, take this with a grain of salt, you make nuclear bombs. So they're in like a nuclear site almost. Other than that, the ending states that we couldn't stop it, and people are guessing that it might be a monster attack of some sort. For me, this video was crazy. I didn't know what to think of it at first. And then I read some of the theories, and they started to fit in place, and that's why I'm mentioning Tekken Music's theory, because it's a good one, and you all should go to that video and read that theory, because I'm probably not giving it enough justice. But that's what I thought about Dangerous Runoff Levels. The next video we're going to be covering is Downstairs Visitors. In Downstairs Visitors, the description states that it was filmed by Elias, and some comments that stood out to me which were from Elias, state that rumors you may have heard are falsehoods, and what happened was a tragedy, and that the old, I would say, leader of the archive itself was a martyr. There was no hidden messages throughout this video. It was a really short one. All I saw was that it looks like you're going through tunnels or pipes, maybe wires, and it cuts through the video and shows like a little demon or a black figure with like red eyes, and that is all I got from Downstairs Visitors. That was it. There was nothing super important that stood out in that video besides the creature with like the red eyes. I have to make that distinction. But yeah, so after Downstairs Visitors, we're going to cover the next video, which is just labeled Elias. The Elias video is actually the longest video so far. It's 10 minutes long. I don't think there was any comments that stood out, but it was a premiere, which means people were talking in the premiere chat, and the Hypnagogic Archive channel was talking in the premiere chat, and it was Elias and Shelby talking before the premiere started, stating that there was a wrong plugin, that you fixed those bugs. Obviously, probably try to stay in character and be like, hey, we're having some little, misinputs here with our premiere, but other than that, that's all they stated. I'm gonna do this real quick because there's so much to cover in 10 minutes. So I'm just gonna start listing stuff that I thought was important, and we're gonna get through this as fast as we can. There was cassettes, cassette rewinder most likely. It was a recorder, maybe a player. It was definitely a cassette rewinder now that I think about it. They were talking about In the Void, nobody's gonna hear me. It feels good to talk. This was all said by Elias. The time that you can see on a clock is 4:31 on an old camera. They state something from beyond. I'm so tired. I warrant a punishment. Jealous of my capabilities. They're jealous of him too. Unhappy. Jealous again. Who or what should have immortality? We should be mortal. Speaking as humans. Left to our mortal, pathetic existence. If you try to become immortal, they don't like it. Now we're getting straight into the video. There was some old cloth. There was someone under cloth. There was an old Minolta. Is it Master? I need to spell better. Old Minolta Master Pro 8918. Cassette player. He said we are self-centered. It never ends. They never left. Time is real, I believe. VHS tapes. Rambling on about organization and being organized. That he can't stop. The cosmic microwave. Like Ribbon. Mind Sponge. They're lost. Or he's lost it. There was a really jumbled voice near the end. He's happy. I stole from the gods. Over my head, looking into TV, / blue screen. There was a red mask, plus static. Elias has ran out of time. He has a bag over his head. Into the valley, into the long, long dark is stated again. And that is all I got from that video. It was a very long one, and it was I had to sit down for a while to actually get through all of it, but those are the most important things I saw, and most of what Elias was saying throughout the video. But yeah. The next video we're going to be covering is Fridge for Sale. In Fridge for Sale, the description just states that it was a listing for a fridge on auctioneer.com. It was for sale and that it was cheap on February 12th, 1998. There are multiple times throughout the video where it states little text descriptions in the corners just stating like cheap, buy now for $300, hang on, and then always remember what he did. There are random photos throughout this video, none of them being of a fridge. There was no fridge for sale. And then somebody happened to slow down the audio in the back of this video, and it ended up being this discussion, which I'll read to you right now. Yep, appears to be more like it. Officer, what's going on here? We need to get people out of here. Go now. Go. No one touch anything. Lot of freaky wax figures. This might be the first one. Look. It's been dated exactly 1 year ago today. After that audio was deciphered, somebody searched it up and they found out that it is possibly a convo from a movie called Seven with Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman, when they captured the sin sloth. I looked that up because I was curious, and from what I heard, the little bit of what I heard through those clips, yeah, it's pretty spot on. They knew what they were looking up. But it is from the movie Sin. Do I know what that has to do with this? Not really, but I'm going to make the connection that since it was the sin sloth, which is, sloth is like sleepy, tired, lazy. Sleep is a big one that comes to mind. Hypnagogic is the time before sleep and before wake. That's the connection I make. But other than that, we're going to move on to the next video, which is going to be History Repeats Itself. History Repeats Itself description just stated that, did you think you were the first? There were some comments by Elias that just stated that the HA, the Hypnagogic Archive, would stick around. Elias was titled Chief Preservation Officer in the comments. Other than that, the video starts off on Sunday, June 22nd, 2014, which is labeled on a HI8 at 7:51 p.m. There was a video playing on the screen in the background that was called You Might Have Seen Me, and it's the creator's old video. Do I know if that has a connection with this yet? Not as of right now, but considering it's an older one, I don't think it would. So I haven't really looked into that one, but yet again, there will be updates at the end of this, so if anything changes, I will update it at the end. They reach out towards the TV, and then it changes to Sunday, June 1st, 2014, at 5:29 p.m. There's a lot of fucking static. They are walking down a street, then walking under an underpass. Then there's always an arrow pointing to the left of the screen, although nothing really appears in the left. There's a letter in the video that states, Elias, do not continue down this path. Do not make the same mistakes I have made. They will not stop. They will not stop. They will not stop. They will not stop. Do you see the world in black and white? History repeats itself. A friend. There were coordinates also in the video that led to 801 S Broadway, Denver, Colorado, 80209 USA, underneath the US 87 South Valley Highway, where people found a VHS tape at the coordinates, which I'll be covering nearing the end of this. I'll be covering what was on that VHS tape. There was possibly some Belarusian, but I couldn't decipher it. It might have said find it. There were some pinned comments, which were important, that just stated that it reminds me of Philadelphia and nothing else. And then there was a guy walking on the side, and people pointed that out in the comments, but I looked back at it, and I really believe it's just a guy walking in the street. I don't think that guy had any idea what he walked into, but he was just walking on the street and people pointed it out. But that's my opinion. You can think otherwise, but I believe he had no connection to the ARG. But the next video we'll be covering is John Kerry's inexplicable snafu. John Kerry's inexplicable snafu. Snafu just means that everything's fucked up, but that's normal. It was a short film on videomonster.com on August 11th, 2004, and the description just stated that it was created by a Gerard and unknown in UNH dorm room to their little brother Daniel, who died in Iraq, to John Kerry's victory. The video is obviously probably making fun of John Kerry, and it cuts to a very creepy passageway. Like, it kind of looks like it's either a passageway or that weird crack between your bed and the wall. It's one of those. It's a presidential speech. Halfway through, there's a part where it cuts back to a Hillary Duff commercial, and there was a small flash in between those changes, and little old me wanted to see what was in that flash, and it was the fucking creepiest as hell photo I have ever seen, and I saw it in the middle of the night, and I said, fuck that shit. But yeah, it'll be up here for you guys to see, I promise. There's possible connections to In for a Penny. If you don't know what In for a Penny was, basically college students on a college campus find sketchy newspaper articles that say that the FBI or some other type of like Men in Black business had like taken off students off campus or something like that, and now they're getting taken. It was that kind of story. So there's possible connections just because it was in a dorm room and it was on a campus, and that was the first one I thought of. But that is it for that one. The next video we're going to be covering is Los Gusanos' satellite broadcast, June 58Q. In the Los Gusanos satellite broadcast, June 58Q, the description just stated that it was a community programming from the Los Gusanos area, aired at 4:45 a.m., Monday through Friday, 1992. The project was made with Fiona, growing a community, local and national, and possible connection to evening meeting. There was a thing that just stated that we are in complete control. There was a Rosicrucian cipher, which is, if you don't know what a Rosicrucian cipher, please look it up. They're extremely fun ciphers that you can use. I love them. I was so glad this ARG had one. All it stated was Elias and come out and play. There was some Morse code, which I don't know how to personally solve Morse code, but somebody in the comments did. So they translated it, and all it stated was, we are in complete control. There was some Belarusian, which stated, we cannot hide forever, and God has his plan for the end of the world. There was another thing that stated that the red thing is waiting. And finally, someone also found out that the transmission code backwards is called Joyce. And that was all that I found in the Los Gusanos video. Our next one we'll be covering is called No Way Out. No Way Out's description just states that it was a short motivational program that aired in 1996, and it was made by a panel of motivational speakers. In this video, Elias does comment down below. I realize, though, that when he does comment, sometimes he'll use the title Chief Preservation Officer, but only once. Rarely is it ever really twice when he's commenting. It's either Elias, and then maybe one time out of all the comments, it might be Elias, Chief Preservation Officer. He says that it's a home recording of a 1996 motivational show to boost morale of viewers with exercise, discussions, and stories, and that it was a forgotten gem. He also states and believes that recorded media has the power to change. In the video, there's just signs throughout the hallway that says, like, there's a sign that, is pointing to a direction that says the way out, and then there's other signs that say that there is no way out of this, Elias. Time marches on, just give up, give us what we want, and then there's always this music box playing in the background. Other than that, it just states, like, time stops for no one, and then, there was just a ton of clocks in the background, too. And that is all I really got from No Way Out, that it seems like Elias is either trapped somewhere and trying to get out, or is being taunted by something. But yeah. The next video we're going to work on is called The Old Route 33C3. The Old Route 33C3's description just states that it's a short-form travelogue in 2001, and then it also states that we forget a lot of things, didn't know this was still here, thought I would film it. So there was some text in the video that stated that, yes, it's still here, and you can meet a lot of people on this route, that it was built in 1840, it still serves as a vessel of commerce, and I didn't do it. So when I heard vessel of commerce, my immediate thought was that it's connected to the vessel of commerce, or, no, it's not vessel of commerce. There's a text file that has commerce in the title. I cannot remember exactly which one, but I have a feeling that one's connected to this video. I'll have to study more on that one before the part 4 video. Other than that, all that's in the video is that there's a face that kind of looks like the face in the collector text file. There's a lot of faces throughout this video. One that looks like an old music artist. I wanted to say he looked like the Beatles, but that's just me. And there was like a female face, possibly an eye or a hand in the camera. You know that when you have your finger, like, not in the camera, but close to it, and you can kind of see your skin color? Yeah, that's what was happening. Other than that, it was mainly like drain pipes and like underpasses, so kind of what you would think as like a hidden pathway, which is kind of why I feel like it's connected to that commerce one, because I think I know what text file that is, but I don't want to say anything unless I'm wrong. But I do have a feeling that one's connected. Other than that, that's all I got for that video, and we'll be moving on to the next one, called The Others. The Others description just states that it was filmed by Elias. There was no text description. There were some Hypnagogic Archive comments, and all that was stated was sanguius, I believe, which just means blood in Latin, and it was posted a ton of times, like spammed underneath the comment section. The comment that made the HA message that and comment that was someone stated that the Walls video, that's all they said, which then caused the Hypnagogic Archive to then say sanguius over and over and over again. Other than that, the video just stated that they're waiting for you or me, and I didn't know if it was you or me, so I just put both, but I think it makes sense to say, since it is filmed by Elias, that they're waiting for me, as in Elias saying that they're going to come after him. Other than that, it seemed like he was in the walls and that there was just a lot of red lighting. Other than that, nothing else was really in the video. So the next one we're going to be going to is called Perception Guide. Perception Guide's description just states that it's a morning program from Aspen, February 2010, and then it asks, how perceptive are you? Throughout the video, there are some letters that are placed, like, kind of like testing your perception, like, do you see these letters? But it does somewhat, this is kind of leaning a bit, spell out a word. So the letters are OUSSDSOMUC, and some people think that it possibly says, you missed so much. Now, either that can be obviously, like, since it is, like, how perceptive are you, making a joke at you, like, haha, you missed so many letters, and all that kind of stuff. Other than that, there are some actual, like, texts, some that say, I don't miss you, Elias, and then I don't miss you at all. And that is all that was found in that video. So the next video we're going to go look at is called Razor Blades. Razor Blades' description just states that it's a sophomore film project for Glendale Ideathon 2005, and it says, I hope this meets all requirements, go blue. Elias does comment underneath this video, and he does use, yet again, Chief Preservation Officer only once. Other than that, he just gives a recap of their website message when you first log on to their website. It was released on Halloween, which makes me feel like this is just a video to celebrate Halloween. The Morse code throughout the video states, Happy Halloween, Elias. We'll keep tabs on you until you stop. Enjoy the surprise we left for you. Other than that, the video is just mainly a lot of older films, red lights, like horror movies, that kind of stuff. But that's all I got from that one. The next video we're going to be covering is called Reefer's Melody. Reefer Melody's description just states that it's an audio remix of dialogue from the 1936 film Reefer Madness 2003, and it was sent by Devon. Elias does comment on this video just saying that obviously the Hypnagogic Archive is your source of temporal ephemera since 1996. I got that wrong earlier. I said 1998 or something like that. It's 1996 when it happened, and it has a connection to the news outlet Aurora Star, I believe. And yet again, he does also use the Chief Preservation Officer title during this video. Other than that, the video is just sped up, like, laughing faces and stuff like that. It's really fast. There was no hidden messages throughout the video, so nothing of really any importance, just those comments down below. So the next video we're going to be working on is, give me a minute, Seven Lights. Seven Lights' description states that it's a low-budget soap opera from Cincinnati in 1992 and was found in the back room of their gas station. It was played at a local theater, and I believe it has a connection to Exercise in Futility, just based on the fact that it was found in a gas station, and Exercise in Futility is a text file about a girl in a gas station. Other than that, Elias does comment on this video, states that they painstakingly convert every audio and video to the form you see now, and he does use Chief Preservation Officer yet again as his title. The video had Morse code in it that said, "You have a traitor in your midst." Other than that, there were some images of a VHS tape spilling the word pain. I took that as the fact that VHS tapes cause pain, which, I mean, who could have guessed? Other than that, there was another Rosicrucian cipher. This one was kind of hard to decipher, but I got possibly error, leave, and get out. Other than that, there was something claimed to be an other that had multiple limbs. It stated that Static heard it, but mainly Elias was the main focus of this video. Plus, there was a black figure in the video. I said possibly it could be the Hat Man, which is discussed in some text files, but other than that, that is all we got for Seven Lights. The next video we'll be covering is called Simple Art. Simple Art's description just states that it's an employee training tape from 2003 with no text description. Elias does comment on this video saying that it's a portal to a bygone era, and that Dan found it in the middle of the main archive building, and they're filming an old CRT monitor in a dark room with a digital camera, but by doing that it attracts flickering and other entities. The main video just said had some like hidden text that just said like, block them out, they lie, do not listen to them, they can't hurt you if you deny their existence, and then don't look up at the fan. Which was mentioned a lot throughout the text files. Other than that, there's just a lot of graphs, data, like fighting, and at the end of the video, it stuttered on the word time a lot, which I just wrote that down because it's a little bit important, but I don't know exactly what to think of it as of right now. But that was it for Simple Art. The next video we're going to be talking about is called Snowbound Recollections. Snowbound Recollections description just states that it's a short subject filmed in Aspen, December 2005, by Chelsea Barrett. They were snowed in, lots of tourist traps and restaurants, they were staying a few weeks, it's Christmas time, and then all that was stated was, don't answer the phone, whatever you do, don't answer the phone. The Hypnagogic Archive channel itself comments, and so does Elias. Elias states that they will not stop until we have succeeded in our mission to record in a fixed medium every word and thought since the inception of time itself. Together we can perpetuate the past for as long as possible, cracks of the fabric of time. The truth wills out. You cannot perpetrate a lie forever. Now the one thing that was not Elias's comment, and was commented by just the channel overall, was memory is a fragile thing. So in the video, there are hidden little texts. One of them just says Elias and some other stuff. But one thing that stood out was a internet link that you can look up, and I'm about to tell you if you want to go look at it. So it's https / Hypnagogic Archive /neocities .org /security clearance, all one word, all lowercase, .html, and that will bring you to a hidden text file, which I'll be reading at the end of this. So if you want to, I don't know, wait and have it read to you, I guess I'll be doing that. So it'll all be covered in this video. Other than that, it was just unintelligible voice and talking, and the main thing I saw in the website link, it's just a text file that's stating like Shelby telling Elias to leave her alone. If you just want the cover of what that text file is, it's just Shelby asking Elias to leave her alone. That's all I found in Snowbound Recollections, but the next video we'll be covering is called Time Stops for No One. Time Stops for No One's description just states that it's an educational program from the short-lived block Aurora Saturday Mornings, 1992. It just mentions deja vu plus, I'm going to butcher this, Jamu's view, which is just the opposite of deja vu. So what deja vu's definition is, Jamu's view is the difference. Other than that, it's just the links and contradictions between casual chronology and fallible human psyche. That one was very hard to read. Other than that, Elias does comment. He says, otherwise be lost to the relentless march of history. The prize is Web 1.0. The archive is one of the web's oldest info repositories. They ask what happened in 2018. When asked where he is, someone he just responded with, good question. Other than that, the video, there's a clock stopped on 3:25, 4:31, or 4:30, and then 12. That is when the clock is stopped at throughout the video. There is another hidden text file in this video, so if you pay attention enough and can decipher it, it is https://hypnagogicarchive.neocities.org/ the capital T capital P prior administration.html. So the prior administration. Other than that, it just states that she couldn't avoid us and what makes you think you can. It repeats timestamps for no one a lot throughout the video. And then there was Morse code in the video. It went way too fast for me to decipher. I didn't see anyone else in the comments be able to decipher it. I went to the Hypnagogic Archive Reddit to see if anybody had solved this Morse code. No one had. At least as far as I've seen, no one had. So I reached out to one of my friends, Optimal Unknown. Thank you so much, Optimal. And even then, it was a little too fast. But they did come back to me and say that it is possibly an SOS, what is it? Yeah, SOS Morse code. Let me actually pull up exactly what they said so I can correctly get it right. So they stated, I tried to decode the thing, and even now I still ain't sure if it's trying to say something. One of the words is close to saying testing, but it's still a little far-fetched considering there isn't much room to tell when a space is supposed to exist or when a new letter starts. So thank you, Optimal, for trying to decipher that for me, but as of right now, it is still unknown. And that's all that was in that video. That was really important. So the next one we're going to be covering is called The Way Out. The Way Out's description just states that it's a visual documentation recovered in 1992 film cache. And the text description says, unsure how I got here, can't leave, found terminal and abandoned offshoot, may be here as long as time, places crawling with things that make my mind squirm. Walking in circles gets tiresome after a long while. Need to keep up stamina surviving on things growing on the walls. I feel I'm not alone. Nerves. That's all it is. There were no comments on this video, but other than that, the video showed a clay puppet on the ground. It looked like eyes and teeth, kind of like, I'm going to be a little graphic here, as if someone stepped on a head and the eyes shot out and the teeth pushed forward. It's really creepy looking. But yeah, there was the music box sound again. It was very similar to the video No Way Out with the walls. They were yellow walls. It looked like a repeat of the video of No Way Out, but everything was backwards. There were blue eyes on the puppet. I didn't know if that was important at all, but the puppet had blue eyes. And then it kept repeating. The video kept repeating. And that was all I found in The Way Out. It was just weird in general. But the next video we're going to be covering is called Vector. Vector's description is a short one, and all it states is that word from Borderland. Elias does comment on this video, and he apologizes for the people not enjoying the videos, and that he doesn't know what an ARG is. The video, it's a constant just loading of a VHS. There's blue lines, no real video. It's kind of like a animation type thing. There's 1 second where it looks like one of those dubstep pads. Other than that, I just said the name Vector sounds like vector lines, like what you use in Adobe Illustrate. There's a vector image. Other than that, there was a green face at the end, but I chalked it up to there was nothing really to gain in this video. It was just a video. But yeah, So the next video we'll be covering is called Viewpoints. Viewpoints has another short description. All it states is, protect me. There were no comments made by Elias or the HA channel of itself. The video was another long one. It went through a lot of places, so I'm going to list them all real quick, and then I'll tell you kind of what I think it is. So they were in a mall, they were just sitting, it moves to a parking garage, then to a gas station, possible waiting area, fountain, parks, statues. There's a sign that says Boulder City 1882. They were in a park, possibly a college campus, because some of the lampposts had like the flags on them, you know, kind of like the triangle flags of a college campus. They stare at benches. There's a lot of static. There's a National State Bank, some heavy breathing, a clock that is stuck at 4:52, closed off radio tower and building. They focused on some clouds and rain clouds. There was a cemetery, propane, railroad tracks, and then Hygiene Road, which is also mentioned in text files. Hygiene food, sewer pipes, a water system, and then at the end there was a hat with a black coat around like a tripod, and then the guy gets like pushed out of a TV kind of, because when he goes to reach for the tripod, it switches and he hits the screen of like a TV with his hand. But yeah, so I said all of these are possible references to like the text files and like places that appeared in text files. Like you have Hygiene Road, there's like a gas station, a mall, you know, like a kind of like parks, that kind of stuff. That was my opinion of this video, that it was just kind of like references to places. But then we're moving on to our last video of the main few that are on the website, which is called XAOC Reel 61167. So we're on the last video called XAOC Reel 61167. The description just stated uploading and you reap what you sow. There were some comments. A random user on YouTube commented, "What track is playing?" and the HA responded, "A song of empty rooms." Other than that, the video just stated that everybody dies, you can't hold on to the past forever, and we have an eye on you. And that was it. It was a relatively short video, and that was the last video on the main website. So we're moving on to the VHS tape that was found in, give me a minute, I'm flipping through pages. Where it was found in one of the videos. Here we go. In History Repeats Itself Under an Underpass, a VHS tape was found, and somebody posted it on YouTube, and I watched the whole thing. So I'll be covering the VHS tape on here too, which will be the next part. It's going to be a pretty long part, but it's going to be all in one go because this was a ridiculously long VHS tape. So I'm going to try to get it as quickly summarized as I can. Alright, so hope you enjoy that. So the tape's name is called Unlabeled Tape number 1016, and this was the one found at an underpass in Denver, Colorado in 2022. There are names for different parts throughout this tape. So the first one we're going to be covering right now is called, well, the first clip was the Hypnagogic Archive Rock. It was someone or something asking Elias to stop what they were doing, and then it cut to Elias singing very poorly. It sounded like someone's homemade mixtape type singing. Other than that, it mentioned something about like an other side around the block, torture. There was talk of like TV screens, things you've never seen, and TV static. And then time stops for no one was mentioned. And then it was just, I chalked it up to, it was just a loud song that was meh. July 21st, 2018 is the name of the next clip, and before the actual clip started, there was an ad for a Sony cassette recorder, which could be referring to what they probably use to record this stuff. It's just Elias talking. He states that you can't bargain with them, can't reason with them, there's no getting out of this. Still don't know what they want, but they can't have it. Gotta deal with the cards I've been dealt. Gotta keep everyone safe. Employees can't know. They mention static, spilling, something allows him to cross over, deal with them on their own terms, arms stretched out like an arachnid, like vampires. They can't get in unless you invite them. Bloodsuckers, they like destroying info. They have asked Elias to come out, and he states that they underestimate him, that he won't back down. And he says, note to self, make sure the virus keeps working. Human versus spirit, and then you're on the ledge, or you're on the edge. It's one of those two, but that's all I got from that one. Ferric Oxide Nightmare is the next clip, and ferric just means relating to iron. Other than that, they mention a satellite service, the 21st of August, which I'm assuming is Elias's birthday. There's a tape deck present, got some nightmares, 3 dimensions in tape decks, more music type singing, that something goes into the ceiling, nightmare, don't know what to do, never wake up, got a mind of its own, unintelligible, and the loans repeating. I need to fix my handwriting, good God. I'm guessing that's it. Loans? Maybe, I don't know. You know what? Maybe we're gonna go with that. A lot of this stuff, I will be honest, was hard to understand. It was super staticky, super quiet. There was music playing over it, really loud fucking music. So this is all just assumption of what I think I've heard. Take it with a grain of salt, please. Ice Cream in the Sky is the next one. All it mentions is Marlene. I thought for a second I have it written down as the girl who burned the tapes in one of the text files, but I don't know. I think this is actually, yeah, I think it is the girl who burned the tapes in that, like, camp place. But Elias is singing yet again. He says, where did you go? What happened to you? You vanished off public record. Talking to Marlene, or trying to, I guess, sing to her. Something about job offers, reconcile, a bad ending. Melrose, Mexico is what made me connect this to the text file, because that's where she was before she disappeared and went to that, like, camp with her boyfriend. States that they made the wrong decision. This shocked me. Elias was there in Melrose, Mexico, because he states that he loved Marlene before she left, which was shocking. So that was discovered in this clip. Other than that, it just says, it randomly cuts to like another commercial that just states that the average person only retains 20% of what they hear. And that was all. Dialectic is the next one, and dialectic just means the art of investigating or discussing the truth of opinions. This one was relatively more like a commercial. It just stated stuff like regulates, promotes reproductive blood, nutrients, small intestines. Sounded like someone who was reading like body processes, something about purification, being sympathetic, going with the flow, insomnia, fatigue. I stated that this could possibly be like a diagnostic thing, like diagnosing someone with something, but other than that, it was pretty, like, you know, a short one. There was crying and laughing in the background, and that's all I got from that. Gap of Information just started with shame on you, who are you trying to fool? It was yet again Elias singing. He mentioned that static comes out of the TV screens. Division without multiplication was stated, which made no sense. Some of these just don't make any sense. Headline, dizzy or distance, void of knowledge, or gap in info. It'll be on every news station. And then he states that Elias comes from the void of knowledge. Play with your feelings, toy with your emotion. He's creating it. Laser discs are mentioned. Photons in the eyes. And then he just yet again states gap of knowledge or void of information. and that was all that was in that one. This is going to be a hard one to pronounce, but Vendée now, which just means watered down. This one was a short one, and it just says why they, in quotes, change. First, it, in quotes, then changed. Echo, chamber, high-pitched singing, static. This one was really unintelligible. It didn't make any sense. There was some coughing in the background. But other than that, I didn't get anything out of it. Pandemonium of Lights is the next one. Pandemonium means just wild and noisy disorder or confusion and uproar. Other than that, this one was, incredibly short. It was just Elias singing, Light Me Up Tonight. Someone else was singing too over it, but that one was super hard to understand. I could not understand what they were saying. But this one was just a song. I didn't pick up anything important out of it. It was just them singing. The Passage of Time is the next one, and at this point, I was slowly losing it. There was just so much singing and static and loud noises that, it was kind of hard to sit through. But other than that, it was just, yet again, Elias singing in that homemade mixtape way. There was Hands of Clock winds down. 1 minute, it's there, the next it's not. Never noticed it. You can miss a whole lot. I feel like there's a reference to genetic opportunity in this, but basically, yeah, they state again, time stops for no one. Rivers, streams, buildings fall, world moves on, no solution to the past, and no end. So I felt like this kind of had a connection to genetic opportunity when the guy kept sleeping for years and then would wake up and be perfectly fine and just have to eat a bunch, but he kept missing important stuff in his life. So I kind of thought this had a connection to that. Weird Guitar was the next one, but it was also a really short one. They mentioned it was either April 15th or April 17th of 2017. He just mentions that he has a new weird guitar that repeats over and over again. They mention history repeats itself, world in black and white, and then, that history repeats itself, doesn't stop, from every angle, resources, collect, fix. This one was kind of also hard to understand, but that's what I got from it. So although this one was labeled No Respite for the Weary, I didn't hear respite. I heard No Rest for the Weary, which in my mind makes a little bit more sense. Other than that, they mention Shelby Can't Do Something is mentioned. Elias is singing again. There's a mention to Heron observations. Knowledge is revealed. Spiraling skin peeling off. Eyes impaled on wooden sticks. There's a mention of a county fair. Highway underpass is beckoning. Darkness is growing. Only way out is to win. I don't think there's any way to win. And then, like Heron observations, every night it grows a little bit worse. Which is why I thought it had a connection to Heron observations. But that was all that I got from that one. Go Home Now is the next one. There was a really loud humming in this clip. I could not understand a lot. All I got was the mentions of someone's stomach is hurting, meet you back at the house, something about tables across the water, potholes are bigger, stars stay out in the night for another day, world in black and white is mentioned again, and then, once more, let the static consume you is also mentioned. Hey Joyce is the next one, and it's quite a long one. They just asked, Joyce, what are you? Some screaming demon from the void, hurtling towards me, so contained, world on edge of insanity. Shallow husk, crawling like an anaconda, some kind of spider. What do you do in the backyard? A place Elias has never gets to go to. He asks her what her whole psychosis is, that he knows about the barrel. He asks where'd her husband go, what's going on behind the noise and the static. Is this her choice? where is her house? And then he mentions that she's like a vermin in the walls. What I took from this was, like, I mentioned in the corner of this page, so Joyce can move behind the noise and static, because it's implied that she can be contained in her VHS tape and, like, stay there, but we also know that she can get out of her VHS tape and move around. So she can move between the static. That one was, I think, had the most information. Tomorrow Never Knows is just another song by Elias that they don't know the future. There's something mentioned about a translucent box. The future you choose. Cilantro is mentioned for some reason. Time travel to the future. Reaccount what happened. Something about a parking lot. Making out. I don't know. And then talking about the first owner was my theory, but it was also a relatively short one. So that's all I got. Dust Space 2920 was literally just static. That was it. March 13th, 2019 was the next one, and it just mentioned that they had a hard time at the archive. Clouds drifting past. Too much sleep. Elias feels like dying. There's no respect for people who work. Quiet lawns and stars. They think do they know who I am? That's not English. Do they know who I am is what I think it was trying to say. Tired. Something was a real chore. Crying. Trying to make a difference. I wrote that Elias is just losing it. And he's about to break. And that was it. Contract Killer is the next one. This is another shorter one. It just says, ultimate failure, make my mind explode, kill him in cold blood, making sure he doesn't exist, secret wire, wicked woman, which I thought was maybe Joyce, fire, moonlight, explosives, drop today, desperate and dire, vicious cycle, and no one escapes. And that was the end of that one. Sickness of the Mind is just a song, but the commercial before it states that hygiene is the cleanest rural county. Pathological Liars is the band that created the song Sickness of the Mind. It is Elias again, which implies that he had a band called Pathological Liars. He states that his mind is rotting, he wants to nap, he's sick in the mind, he comes from a different world, and water is poison, and it's contagious. And then he also states, go under highway and find something. I found out that you could buy this tape on the Hypnagogic Archive website. So I was wondering if you had bought the tape, right, and you listened to it, if this was implying to go find, like, the other tape underneath the underpass. But I don't understand why if you could just buy, I don't know. It's one of the things I was thinking about, but yeah, that was Sickness of the Mind. Analectic is the next one, but that just means selections from or parts of a literary work or group of works. It mentions sense, smell, emotions. Yet again, it was a lot of listing of body parts, something about a zipper, someone was packing up, there was talking in the background. It sounded like someone was studying for a medical exam or something like that. Other than that, at the end, there was reverse audio, and I'm so glad I finally learned how to reverse audio, so I understood what it meant. It basically just states that you've gone just about as far as you can with the way things are, and that's where it ended. Out in Darkness states just, nothing is as cryptic as it seems on the outside, that they were chased by a man in a hat. He can't hurt you, just a figment of your imagination. Out in the darkness, following close for days. Ignorance is bliss. Stay inside and lock all doors and windows. No influence. And then at the end it states, nothing such exists as the Hat Man. Can't Outrun the Past was a really short one. All it mentioned was a crystal ball inside, mystic art, she'll be made out of metal, and can't hear much. And that was it. Epoch gone by. Epoch just means a period in time in history or a person's life, typically one marked by notable events or particular characteristics. Was another short one. It just mentions dust in eyes, chase us around, why try, watching sun go down, circle continues, she's attached, and calendar gets ripped off. I'm going to knock out 2 with 1 stone here. And these are the final 2. Note to self just states no matter how much you cooperate, you will be executed anyways. And didn't understand anything else from that one. And then Q was just like weird music, kind of like a ending music type feel. But that was it for the, let me correct myself, cassette tape. It was a cassette tape, not a VHS tape. I don't know why I mixed up the 2. But it was a cassette tape. That was found under the underpass, but that was all that was in it. The next thing we'll be discussing is the secret text files that I found while I was researching for this one, so those will be the next part. Security clearance. Elias. I know you're into me. You can come out and say it. You don't even try to keep it a secret anymore. It's like you follow me around just to call me into the office so we can have long, empty talks about nothing. And as a result, I can't get any work done. This is completely inappropriate behavior, and at any other normal fucking job, I would have the benefit of an HR department I could report you to, or at the very least, there'd be some kind of monetary incentive for me to quit. But I'm a volunteer. I work here because I believe in our mission. Please just stop this creepy behavior. Is it because you're bored, Elias? Because your marriage fell apart and your wife left you, so now you feel this is all you have remaining? If so, I don't know what to tell you. All I hope is that you can find actual friends or someone who's obsessed with this as you are. Because when you spend hours telling me about crossing over and the others, do you expect me to take you at face value? For fuck's sake, Elias, I have a doctorate in media studies. I could be teaching at seminars right now, going to worldwide conferences in Paris and Madrid, and instead I choose, for whatever reason, maybe out of an altruistic one, to help you decipher these VHS tapes and mini discs and rejected IMAX formats and other assorted crap. So please, the least I ask is some respect. I know maybe this won't resonate with you, so let me phrase it in your terms. When you bother me, ask me what I'm doing later with that smug grin on your face. It feels like how I assume you feel when you wake up in the middle of the night and one of the others is standing at the foot of your bed and smiling. Just think of it like that, okay? Shelby. The prior administration. Hello, Elias. We hope you're doing as well as when we last talked. We understand that handing the archive over to you will be an incredible burden on your mental health. Please remain at all times in the best frame of mind. Don't hire anyone with records of mental illness, notable aversions, anything along those lines. Check their resumes. Pick them apart with a fine-toothed comb. We can't afford another lawsuit. We hope to wash our hands of the whole ordeal, distance ourselves, set up offshore bank accounts. What we've been through in the past few months is enough to make anyone quit. You'll feel that way eventually. When you do, and you want to join us here in Jamaica, don't feel ashamed. Keeping the archive intact is a near superhuman feat. We were only able to do it because we started thinking it would be easy. Our expectations were quickly proven wrong. We do have a few tips for you. First, people will inquire about the shift in management. They will start rumors, threads, and the like, especially off-site. To this end, we have arranged to deactivate the hypnagogic forums. They were a burden to our ends and ultimately proved counterproductive. If anybody else asks, please tell them that we're still on good terms with the project and have ultimately severed ties with it. That's partially true about us willingly severing ties with it. We'll also help out by manufacturing a scandal concerning our VP. Scandals are a good diversion in times like these. VP says she doesn't mind even if her name is dragged through the mud, so long as it will provide an alibi for us to get away. Trust us. After a few years in the saddle, you'll also be willing to do anything to get out. There might not be a way out for you, but we've gone over all the paperwork, and if you really want to take this upon yourself, then there's nothing we can do to stop you. In all honesty, it'll be an incredible weight off our shoulders. Our second tip for you concerns the others. As we discussed during our physical meeting, they may not arrive for a few months. They may believe the archive is dead, but they will start eventually. Once they're on to you, they'll ramp their game up fast. The others will attempt to coerce and badger you into deleting the server and all content contained therein. They will carry this on for weeks on end, sometimes months, and at intervals provide you with a short break. They'll pose over phone and email as family members, coworkers, and friends. They'll intimidate and harass you, threaten you with meaningless legal jargon. Do not attempt to retaliate or use violence against the others in any way. Over the years, we have found these threats to be, for the most part, harmless. However, any show of force will prompt swift retribution. We suggest informing the new staff of this as well. It ended badly for one of our interns. He now gets his food from a tube. There are a few ways to discern whether you're talking to the others or the genuine article. They can be clever in manipulating their voices and appearance, and can fabricate any photo or document you ask them to provide as proof of identification. Under happier circumstances, I would suggest creating a password for any further correspondence, but we may need to cut ties here and now. The others are thorough in their requests for deletion, and they will not leave you alone unless you decide to delete the archive and scrub any evidence of its existence from the net, which, though virtually impossible, may be the course of action you take after your stint as chairman of the organization. We do not understand yet precisely how far the others can manifest in the offices, or if they can influence the course of events. Given their established ties with continuity and temporal mechanics, it would be best to err on the side of caution and consider your actions at all times. Weigh the consequences of one decision over those of another, and develop a mental state wherein you're fully aware at all times of your presence in the corridor between the past and future. Knowledge of the operation of time is one of the greatest weapons we can yield against the others. They think they know everything on the subject, but we might have an advantage over them in some areas. This next bit is perhaps the most important. It is the reason given by them for the conflict at hand, and under no circumstances should you reveal it to any of the employees, even the senior staff. Doing so was our mistake, and we regret it deeply. The others want our project deleted because they feel it threatens them in some way, either their existence or their state of being. They rely on the stability of well-defined eras and years, and what we're doing uproots their established model. To hell with established models, is what we say. If someone can cross boundaries between borders and between countries, after all, what is a border but a human construct? Then who is to say that we cannot cross boundaries through time, shake hands with the past, and steal ideas from what is yet to transpire? This is our true mission statement, Elias. Our purpose. To blur the lines between man-made boundaries and, in effect, make all of time universal. This is only the first step in an exciting new frontier. We expect you to upload this directive. You shouldn't face many obstacles from the public. We take pride in our PR campaigns, our positive image on various social media networks and subcultures. We have confidence in your leadership and skill set, and your stated ability to uphold our original vision, while simultaneously taking things in a new direction. You are a godsend in these times, and we thank you deeply for your sacrifice. Please refrain from asking us any further questions. We couldn't begin to answer most of them even if we wanted to. There are some things man was not meant to understand. Best regards, the prior administration. Marital dispute email. Retrieved from the 2008 AT&T data breach. I'm typing this out while the thoughts are fresh in my mind. I think it's best that way. I also think it's for the best that I write this at around 11 p.m. because when you wake up in the morning, we'll have left. I'm going to start packing in about an hour. I really wanted to make this work, you know. I tried everything. We tried counseling, you tried getting motivation from your coworkers, even the vacation to Taiwan where I insisted that you leave the camera behind. And you did. I think that was your strongest moment, possibly. It was almost startling to see you standing straight up in the Mexican sun, breathing in the saline air, without that stupid thing on your shoulder. But I should have anticipated that you would relapse the minute we got back. Because of course you would. At this point, I'm convinced that I can't do anything for you. I know I should feel guilty, leaving behind someone who served as a shoulder for me to lean on and someone for me to confide in for so long. But I'm not leaving the boy I met in high school. I'm leaving something else. Some horrible, mutant thing without a shred of compassion. If not for me, you could at least have some for your children. I don't know how it happened, or whether I bear any responsibility for it. Maybe I do. But you do also, and I hope that when you wake up and each room you pass is cold and empty, the memories slowly leaving them, and then you catch a glimpse of this on the monitor, you feel at least a small scrap of remorse before this. Whatever it is you've got consumes you whole. And at that point, I don't even think you'll be capable of any kind of remorse or self-reflection. It's as if that witty kid I started dating was slowly replaced, piecemeal, through some kind of invisible process. It's not just that we said our vows. Plenty of couples I've seen made it through spats and quarrels. What you have is beyond that. It's a borderline psychosis. In about a week and a half, once you've had time to process everything, except the way things are, I'll call you on the phone and we can talk about who will get what, signing the paperwork, visitation, alimony payments. Dad says he knows a good firm, but we'll talk about that when we get to it. Right now I'm focusing on taking care of the kids. I woke Jody and Doug up. They're getting their things, packing their suitcases. Not that they have much to pack. You spent so much on HI-8 tapes for your stupid camcorder, it's honestly a wonder they have clothes at all. Oh, you'll find another surprise. The basement. I went in there. I took the chef's knife to your precious stereo system and your all-important video deck. Slashed 3 holes through the top. I don't know if I broke anything. I probably did. All your tapes are in 5 large white plastic trash bags out back. Better not sleep in or they'll be picked up before you can go out and get them. You might find some of what I've done callous or even cruel by some operable definitions. I call it your just desserts. I call it an eye for an eye. I think you've had it for a long time coming, the neglect of our lives for your own, your inability to sacrifice anything for anyone. You can't live that way and expect nothing but positives. If I didn't do it, if I didn't make you aware of the mental and emotional stress you put on us, somebody else would. It would only be a matter of time. Jody just went out and she's sitting in the front seat. If you could see her, I mean really, see her with your eyes, not with a lens, and you could see amount of gravitas she's been put under as a result of your choices, I think you might reconsider things. But you won't ever see her except through your lens. You see everything through that fucking lens. A lens that distorts reality and warps your mind. A lot of my friends who I discussed this with warned me that I would feel guilty about it, that it'd weigh on me and that nothing is worth throwing away a decade of marriage for. But like I said, I didn't promise to spend the rest of my life with whatever you are now. I promised to marry what you were then. I'm not abandoning my husband. I'm abandoning a stranger. A stranger who, 365 days of the week, sits in the basement reviewing footage, compiling it, all for some non-existent film project or documentary series or whatever the hell you call it. I don't care what you think you're making. What you have made is an irreparable shambles. And I don't like shambles. I never have. We're leaving this mess, and we're going far away. Tonight we'll probably drive around 200 miles, maybe more in the week ahead. Don't try to find us. Don't point your camera at us. Leave us alone, and I'll try to promise that I'll do the same to you. Forever. Cold shoulders, cold turkey. You might have an addiction, but you're my addiction, and breaking you is the best choice I've made in a long, long time. There are no other options, nothing else I could do to prevent this. Every contingency has been accounted for. Everything I can think of points me here. It's 11:32 now, and Doug is out front, sitting behind his big sister. I'm waving to them, telling them that I'll be out there real soon. There's fear in their eyes. Fear of what you've been hiding. Fear of what you've been doing. If you could only see it. They probably see it in me, too. I probably display it more. Really, their bravery and courage as far as this plan goes is unlike anything I've ever seen. We raised them well. There's really nothing else to tell you. So I'll get my luggage, and then it's Key Sarah. If you want, film your reaction to this email. Film this in triplicate. Film yourself losing the computer off. Film yourself tossing the computer off the Hoover Dam for all I care. That's all you can film now. Goodbye. Valerie. Hey, it's Willow, and if you've reached the end of this video of part 2 of the Hypnagogic Archive, thank you so much. This is so much fun to make, and I know it took a little bit longer than planned. I was really busy this past month, so I'm glad I've just finished it. Part 3 will be out. Part 3 should be a really short one. We're just going to be covering the blog posts, and then part 4 will be all my theories. So what I think this story is trying to tell, and what I believe the timeline of the story is. So if you're excited and you like this video and you want more, please like and subscribe. After the Hypnagogic Archive, after I cover that one, we're going to be moving on to another ARG, covering another ARG. But yeah, I'm excited. Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in part 3.